Listen, sometimes you realize you've counted someone out when you shouldn't have. And it's noble to actually open up your mouth and say, I think I wanna see what's up. What's up? How you doing, Ray of Sunshines? I am your girl, Talisa Ray, wife style coach. We are reviewing Ready to Love, season number 4, episode number 3. The tables have turned. What does that mean? This time, 2 ladies go home. I'm getting beside myself. So they're having brunch. It is the very next day after the mixer and mingle. Like last night was the mixer and mingle, this morning is the brunch, and that's what I gather. The first thing I wrote down on my notes is Troy is a creep. He gives me the heebie-jeebies. This is before I even saw the rest of the show. Like, I'm taking notes as I go along. And it wasn't what he said about Alexis Fly Jones. It was how he said it. I saw her and she looked good. And, oh no, it wasn't Alexis he was talking about. He was talking about Chrissy. Chrysanthemum. I said I wasn't going to try that no more. We were talking about Chrissy. And he was like, she looked good in that jogger. I just wanted to sop her up with like a biscuit. Men say that all the time, but they say it in the confines of people that, you know, they trust, like men or like they sisters or whatever, right? It just felt something about him to me I don't like. I don't like it, okay? So Ida shows up. She was like, I was excited to see Ron. I liked him and wanted to get to know him more, but I saw he had already sat down and started having breakfast. Like, she was a little disappointed. She wanted to talk to the man who could low-key be a little chauvinist. Like, he's traditional, remember? And Andrea needed, that ain't gonna work. You need to be at home. You ain't gonna be able to work. You ain't gonna be able to be a flight attendant. You remember that from last time. Like, he gives you a little bit of maybe too misogynist, too patriarchic. Yeah, I guess that's the right word. Nonetheless, Tommy shows up. He's like, hey, listen, the tables turn. This week, 2 ladies go home. So y'all need to get to know each other. Because right after this brunch, one of them is gonna go home. So one of the first things that we see is, I can't remember, was Tressa talking to David? And David was sitting across from Vernisha? And she was sitting across from someone else, but he mentioned that he didn't know she was a comedian. And she was like, oh, I told you yesterday, but maybe it was Dietrich. I don't know who she was talking to. But pretty much she said, I don't share that I'm a comedian because people think I'm supposed to be funny all the time. And that's just not realistic. So we see Troy again, and this time he's macking up Alexis Fly Jones. And she's all like, not really sure. Did I write that? Nope. She's not sure about his authenticity. Like, it sounds good, but is he real? Is this true? Like, you know, the whole kiss on the cheek, and then you see him do that again, give like the same little spiel to Amber, and then again to Andrea. Like, and it was another lady. I mean, he just runs the same lines over and over again. Total creep vibes. I wrote down, Ida's funny. Ida's funny. I wrote down, Ida is funny, but Ida is a lot, right? She sits down with David and Stacy. Like, she goes over there while Stacy is talking to David, like mid-conversation, and asks, can I join? Like, I don't really have a problem with that because of the simple fact that you know that somebody is going to go home. So it's 8 men and 10 women. So you got to get in where you fit in. And that's how I felt. But she's funny, and the reason I say that is because Stacy seems to be visibly annoyed that Ida has interjected into this conversation with David. But you know, Ida, this is her personality, makes it light and airy, and is like, so can you marry us both? You think you could marry us both? You think you could handle us both? You know, David began to start to answer. And she was like, oh, you was for real answering? No, I was only kidding. Like, I was only kidding. We saw Chris and Amber. Amber is a 31-year-old who works for the DA office, or is a DA. Can't remember which one, but definitely an attorney. And what I wrote down, the thing that stood out to me was the fact that you cannot be bringing Naya up and your situation with Naya from last season with these ladies. You know, we could take it one time, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it throughout with these dates. And I'm going to just tell y'all the truth. I don't want to hear what happened with Naya. We all saw what happened with Naya. We all saw that she did you a disservice. And so Amber goes on to say, you know, I believe things should be 50-50. Like, how are we going to build together? And that we should be equal, right? You know, and some people would agree and some people would disagree. Y'all let me know how you feel about it down below in the comments. Are you equally splitting everything 50-50? This is why I say that in my opinion, there should be a household account and 2 separate accounts. I know that some of you don't agree with that, but this way the lines aren't blurred. A set amount of money goes into here that we decide is fair and reasonable. Even if I make more money, is it that I'm putting in a little more? Whatever we decide collectively as a husband and wife, that is what goes into our joint account. And then we have separate accounts to do what we wish. And then it doesn't feel so like this is your responsibility, this is your responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know down below in the comments if in fact you feel like the 50-50 rule works for you. Do you feel like that? Because essentially you could still say he's paying the mortgage and she's paying the car notes and still put it all in the joint account, right? So y'all let me know. I think we talked about it, but I just want to, I know we talked about it last year, but I just want to know what you think about it now. We hear AJ talk about Andrea. He sat down and was like, I hadn't talked to her a little bit, or only for a brief moment. And he was like, yeah, now I realize why we only had a brief encounter. Like, pretty much she's boring and I'm uninterested in her. And as Andrea walks away, because, you know, he gets up to go to talk to Stacy, she realizes at that point, you know, okay, he's not interested in me. It's better to know up front than to later on find out that you didn't spend all this time with this man and he ain't interested. Find out at the beginning, honey, and go with your solar plexus, your intuition. Go with your discernment, honey. Know that if you feeling like he ain't into you, he probably ain't. If he's doing the things to say that he's not into you, like glazing past you and you just met him, he's not interested in you. So, AJ... well, Stacy walks up and actually interrupts the conversation and takes AJ away. Y'all think about that for a second. She says, excuse me, can I steal AJ? Okay, now Stacy's a Virgo. I looked at their stuff, but what I remember is Stacy's a Virgo. So she goes over and she says, excuse me, can I steal him? So of course he willingly goes, and Andrea's looking like, I guess that's over. And as they sit there, she kind of glances him over, tells him he's 6'3" or whatever, and then he was cheesy as hell talking about some guess what size my shoes are, or guess my shoe size. I was like, really, sir? Really, sir? You know, she said 13, and he was like, I'm good with measurements. And I'm all like, this is so like, really, guess my shoe size? It ain't your shoes, sir, that determines what that piece of your anatomy that you are alluding to, okay? At least in my experience, it's been your hands, not your feet. We talked about this last year and y'all disagreed with me. And if you still do it down below in the comments, because you know I'm here for it. I'm here for us respectfully disagreeing and expressing ourselves, and respectfully disagreeing with other ray of sunshines in a manner full of love and kindness, because you are entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to disagree with me. I just find it ironic. So Ida comes over and she sits down. Can I join y'all? Again, with Stacy. It just so happens they like the same kind of guy, right? But Stacy is hella annoyed. And so I found it ironic, like, how you annoyed that she comes and she joins when you just walked up to Andrea, interrupted their conversation, and stole AJ. Now, it might have been a little lull, a little quiet, a little whatever, but nonetheless, it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. You know, she's all like, there's all these other men, you could go find someone else. Like, she feels like it's a personal attack. It's not, girl. AJ is fine. David is attractive. She wants to be where they are too. And I'm sure Ida probably did it with other people. We then see Jason and Alexis talking, and he asks, how do you think your son is going to feel about, you know, he knows me, but how do you think he's going to feel about you bringing in another man in? And, you know, she was like, oh, he's going to have to understand that his mother, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. So here's one, right? So we see David, Vernisha, and Tressa sitting on the outside patio, and David asks, if your man wants to abstain from sex until marriage, how would you feel about that? I'm gonna ask y'all that same question. I want y'all to let me know down below in the comments. Vernisha was like, well, we getting married soon, how long are we waiting? Like, that was her thing. And Tressa made it plain and simple. It's a no for me. It's a no for me. She said, I don't want to wait. I've had that trash dick before, and I don't want to have that same mistake again. David, in his diary cam, said that he believes in waiting because sex clouds your judgment on whether or not you actually want to be with someone if you like them, which is true. So my whole thing is, listen, David, you ain't gotta jump in the sack with them the first week, the first month. You don't have to do that. But literally, if you ask them to marry you, you're telling me you're gonna wait. If it takes 2 years, you're gonna wait for 2 years and not be with your wife? Like, because, you know, sometimes it takes a while to plan and make a wedding and to save the money, if that's what you're gonna do, have an actual wedding. So, I mean, I'm all for you abstaining. I'm not against it if that's what you do. But for me, I'm like, Tressa, it's a no. I want to test drive the car to make sure that the engine is running, that there's no check engine lights on. Is this a luxury car? Am I comfortable? Does this fit my body? Is it too small? Is it too big? Like, how does this car ride? Is it a smooth ride? Is it a bumpy ride? Is the radio good? Is the sound quality good? Like, I want to know. I'm like, Tressa. So y'all let me know down below in the comments. How long you waiting? Are you abstaining? Which is fine. It's okay. There's no judgment here. People do abstain from sex. But what I know is that I'm not. For me, it's a no. For me, I don't want to waste your time. For me, I'm going to thank you for your time, because that's part of, like Tressa, sex is a huge part of a relationship for me, and I need to know. I need to know. I also don't feel like, on the flip side, though I need to know, there could be some things wrong, but you might just need an oil change or a tune-up. Like, I can make it so that it's enjoyable for me. I can tell you what I like and vice versa, because those are the conversations that we have. But what I'm not gonna do is wait until my wedding night to find out that it's garbage. So then we see Dietrich and Ida sitting and having a conversation. Like, Dietrich is like, I like you, Ida. I want to get to know you, Ida. But I think that you're hiding behind this comedic relief, being funny. Like, are you nervous? Is that an issue for you? Like, I like you and I want to meet the real you. Will the real Ida please stand up? Please stand up. Like, I can't get to know you if you're always cracking jokes and being funny, because remember, she calls him Marvin, as in Marvin Gaye. Like, Marvin Gaye was fine as fuck, y'all. Yes, if he was alive. So here comes Tommy talking about the men have made their decision and one lady is getting ready to go home. Now, I had already written down that I felt like it would be either Andrea or Ida that would go home, because both of those ladies seem to be at the bottom of the totem pole for the men. And like I said last week, y'all remember when we thought that it was going to be a guy and a girl, I thought Ida was going to go home then. But no, they sent Ida home this week. And when she was hugging people, I was so with her when she was like, yeah, you know, I'm sorry you have to go, I'm sorry. Absolutely not. You were probably the one that sent me home. Please don't give me that. Please don't tell me that. Just say, peace, it was nice to meet you, or something. Like, don't do it. You probably voted me off. Like, she was sad. You can see that her eyes, she probably was crying. It hurts to be rejected by there are 8 men, and I'm being rejected. I'm going home. Like, of course you're going to feel away. I also feel like that maybe she was nervous. I think that she didn't do herself a good, I feel like she didn't do herself justice, right? I don't feel like she really showed who she was, but how could you in just a couple hours, right? I kind of feel like she said they're not giving them enough time to actually interact before saying people have to go home. Anyway, also, my slimmer ladies, my slim, thick ladies, y'all can wear Spanx too. Just to, you know, smooth things out. Like, it ain't just the big girls that have to wear Spanx. We all can wear a good Spanx, a good body shaper. How about that? Y'all probably like, what's Spanx? A body shaper, okay? Anyway, Tommy, as Ida's gone, so Tommy says, okay, it's time to get old school and go out on dates. Get to know one another, build connections. You need to start asking people out. And at the end of the week, one more lady will be sent home. I mean, the pressure is on. Dietrich's like, this is too much. Whew, it's stressful. I can't even imagine. However, even now, I'm still single, so I would go. But because I'm 44 as a woman, they ain't got nobody over 41 on there. Like, we're like the first season, you saw women that were 43. Like, it was still a possibility, right, back then. I think back then I might have been 42, 43. Now I'm about to be 45. They ain't coming to LA. We be ready to love too. I would totally like interview, cast, whatever it's called. I would totally do it, okay? Totally go all the way through. They got until I'm 46 before I'm all like, no. I'm still single. I'm dating and I'm single, okay? So the first couple that we see to go out is AJ and Alexis. And I'm all like, Alexis does dress her ass off. Like, she's cute, she's petite, she looks, you know, well put together, she looks neat, it doesn't look sloppy, you know, because sometimes all of us have moments where our clothes don't look as good as we would like them to. He decides, you know what, we're gonna go on a making candle date. So she says that that this is very sensual, right? That she likes it. And as they sit down, you know, she talks about what her love language is, which is important that we know. I think last year we said we were going to talk about love languages. Is that something that you want to do? Let me know down below in the comments, and we can just do a live and talk about what love languages are and how to find out what yours is. But she was saying that hers is physical touch. And so he's all like, why are you way over there? Come closer to me if that's what your love language is. Now, I want to remind y'all that when we met her, she had said that she's not building connections and meeting people of substance, because when she goes out on a date with them, all they want to do is have sex with her. This is her first date with AJ, and there were several sexual innuendos in there. So my question is, how are you expecting people not to think that that's what you're all about if that's how you're starting off on day one? Like, you're talking about how much you like his chocolate skin. I mean, you talking about, I wonder how long the hot wax takes to get hard. Like, you talk about you know, how fast do you want me to go? Like, all of these things are sexually charged and based. And I know that you are hella attracted to him, but pull up, sis. Oh, that wasn't Dietrich or David that said that. It was AJ that said that sex clouds your judgment. What's his face? David just said he wanted to wait until he wanted to abstain until he was married. AJ is the one that said it clouds your judgment, and I agree with him. Let me say that. AJ didn't say he wait until he was married though, but he wants to wait to get to know somebody before they move to that next step, because it definitely will cloud your judgment. Once you know that I'm gonna put it down, she gonna, you know, I'm gonna put it down, she gonna give it up. I think that's what he said. But that if he puts it down, you know how we get. You know how we get. We definitely get stigmatized. Period. It's the same for men too, but it's something that actually happens. It's a real thing. And so normally it's ladies that are like, it's gonna cloud my judgment, I need to wait. But men too, you see that now. It's plain and simple that we all get clouded judgment when we have sex too soon with someone. I mean, you are free to do what you want. It is your body. I am not against it. But what I am going to say, that this is really a possibility. You could be liking somebody because the sex is good. She said to him, you know what, I am physically attracted to you. But I was so glad that he called her out on all her like sexual innuendos, right? Like saying, you know, hold on, like it's a lot, like you've made a lot of mention about sex and making these sexual innuendos, like a lot. And she was like, I'm physically attracted to you. He said, you know what, and honestly, I want to find a wife, so I can't just base it off of sex. I'm actually looking for a wife. Then we see Kyra and Jason. You know what it is about Jason's teeth? It's his gums. it's his gums, and they're a little crooked. I got a thing about teeth. He's not a bad looking guy. Just keep your mouth closed. And that's the shallow side of me talking, because Jason in this moment seems like a good guy. So him and Kyra go out on a date. They meet, you know, for like some little food or something. And, you know, he asked her about what she likes, and that she, you know, I like to dance, I like to travel, you know, and I'm super competitive. He tells her, you know, I used to play professional basketball or whatever he did. I used to play basketball overseas and whatever, right? He also says that he swims, like he was an athlete, he's a swimmer, and he went to diving school, you know, so he can dive. Like, you know, that was low key, you know, I can dive. Y'all know where he going, right? He going fishing. Again, another sexual innuendo. He even realized it and laughed and was like, yeah, no, not like that. Not like that. The noise you hear in the background is my loud ass son that I told to close my door because he get too excited about these games. Y'all, if you got kids in that age, y'all know it. So excuse that, them outbursts. Sounds like somebody got Tourette's here. Kyra asked him about any regrets that he has, and he said I try to do everything that I set out to do. Some things I didn't finish or whatever, and those things that I didn't finish was because I went through depression, right? But then he went on to talk about how he actually got therapy because she asked, because for her, that's a trigger. She's had someone who actually has, you know, killed themselves or committed suicide because of depression. So I liked that he was very open about that. Like, that spoke volumes, and that's something that you need to get out ahead of time. Like, number one, I used to be depressed and I'd go see a therapist, and the therapist had me crying. Like, I liked it, and it seemed like they had like some good thing going. I thought that for a second there, Kyra was gonna put him in the friend zone. I really did. We then see Joel, David, Troy, Vernisha, Liz, Amber, and Andrea going on a date for painting and whining, or stenciling and whining, or whatever they do. And we see Andrea, and she says that she has a thing for Troy, that she likes Troy, that they had a great connection. Troy is full of shit. Okay, what you liked about him, Andrea, is that he's full of shit. Okay, because the moment Amber walks in, he couldn't take his eyes off of her beauty, right? Her body. He was smitten, and Andrea could see that. Like, it was evident. It was like, I don't know, that cartoon where the hound dog has his eyes pop out, his tongue pop out because he's excited about what he sees. That's what that felt like. You see him sitting right next to Andrea after flirting with her, just literally shifts his attention over to Amber and forgot all about Andrea. Talking about how good she look or how good she smell or whatever. Your hair so soft, your teeth so white, your skin, whatever. You know you know the saying. So we also see Liz over there talking to Joel and telling him that he's easygoing and she likes him because he knows how to be vulnerable, and that she thinks that he's handsome. Like, you know, sometimes we gotta let them know, like, this is what it is. I'm attracted to you and these are the reasons why. Because sometimes they don't even know if you're attracted to them. Meanwhile, Troy now is over there back to gaming up Andrea, talking about a trip, you know, and that could be their first date, and maybe the first time, you know, where we can make the baby. I was like, make our first baby. I was like, you do realize Amber's on the other side of you, and Amber is disgusted and rolling her eyes, and she's all like, yeah, I don't like Troy anymore. That's out. Because what she sees is that he's a game player. You see Vernisha and David talking. Vernisha shares with David that, listen, the reason that I'm here is for a husband. On my vision board, I put a ring. Like, we're not gonna play no games, David. That's what I want. I want a husband. And we know that David likes Vernisha because now this is the second time he's having a conversation with her. Remember at brunch, they had a conversation and she was open to waiting, but for how long? However, Vernisha likes Joel, but Joel has expressed that he likes Liz. And, you know, so she kind of pulls up, but she's hopeful because he still checks on her like he's concerned and he cares for her. Well, that's the gentlemanly thing to do. If I know that you're attracted to me and I don't want you to be uncomfortable when you see me in this environment with the girl that I like. Are you okay? Like, that's really gentlemanly. I really like that about Joel. Even though he started off seeming like he was a lot and he was leading with his looks, that is quickly changing. Then you got Troy back over there doing fuckboy shit, right? Fooling with Andrea's bra and whispering in her ear and smelling on her and whatnot. And Amber is just totally turned off. And I wrote down good. So am I. So am I. The next set we see going on a date is Dietrich, Alexis, Chris, Jason, Tressa, and Stacy. Oh, and AJ. They're going to a cooking class and they're set up to cook something. And you see that Dietrich and Alexis are over there being competitive because she got Dietrich and he's a chef. Just because he's a chef doesn't mean he cooks good. Like, is he gonna season his food right? Is it the same kind of chef that we used to? Like, does he know like correct cooking degrees and whatnot? Like, hello. We also see the Stacy is really into AJ because she remembered that he does not eat pork and they have them cooking with pork. I want to say, what were they making? Were they making the okra? Can't remember, but it don't matter. AJ notes how aggressive Alexis is with her sexual innuendos over there with Dietrich, and he says, you know what, that's really not his vibe. Okay, hold on to that just a second. I wrote down Tressa is coming with the personality. You know, she goes over to where Dietrich is and says, here, I want you to try. Hey, Papa, you want to try this? You know, because Papa is his running nickname because he has a grandchild. He asked her out. And what we found out is the day before, she was attracted to him. She was interested in him. But she asked him, am I your type? Are you attracted to me? And what he said was, at that time, I used to be attracted to your type, but I'm not anymore. I'm attracted to a different type now. I mean, he really tried his best not to hurt his feelings, but again, But again, you have to respect her asking the question so that she don't waste her time chasing after somebody that is not interested in her. Like, are you attracted to all this curvy plus size goodness or nah? Is this what you like or nah? Let me know because I'm gonna go find the dude that likes these curves, okay? But you totally could see when she walked up and fed him that little food and started talking about what she always uses, paprika and all her stuff is her secret or whatever, you could see that his interest was genuinely piqued. So much so that on the fly, he asked her, have you ever been to a spice store? I'd like to go out on a date with you. I want to take you there. She was shocked. She was shocked, but very receptive. He said that she has the dopest personality. And listen, Tressa's right? Tressa says, you know, you ain't never heard a man say, oh, she's got the dopest personality. Because normally when they say that, that means they're not attracted to you. Oh, she's got the dopest personality. Meaning she's not the finest, but she's got a great personality. Tressa is gorgeous to me. And I'm hoping that that's not what he means. But I'm glad that he does see something more in her. And you have to respect the fact that he knows that maybe I need to give her a shot. Because she's a woman of substance. She's more than just her outward appearance. Honey, Stacy was over there talking to Chris, and the next thing you know, she was out and moved on over to Dietrich. Like, next. You know, Chris felt away. Kyra and AJ having a conversation, and listen, I was like, Kyra needs to, if she's really gonna give him the option, then she needs to let the past go, and she can't keep bringing that up every time they together. She gotta let it go. She gotta give him a chance like it's a clean slate. Otherwise, she needs to go on her way. Because she was like, is he gonna be my El Cheapo or my chocolate drop? You can't keep winging what you had before if you giving him another shot. Just leave him alone if that's gonna be in the back of your mind that he gonna be a cheap date all the time, right? It's a thing. Walk on, keep on walking, I ain't talking to you anymore. Like, that's what you should do, because you've already formed your opinion about him, and now you're wasting your time and his time too, because in the back of your mind you're thinking about how you had to pay for dinner, and not only that, you find out that homeboy didn't have no money on his card. His card got declined, so that's a double whammy against him. Like, what are you doing? You know you don't like him. I mean, he's attractive and everything, one of the more attractive men, but don't waste your time. So all the men, it is time for them to make their decision. They go meet at the gentleman's lounge. Honey, they come in ready. They start talking, and Jason starts. And what he does is compliment Joel for being a good, genuine dude. Like, he had called him one day while he was moving, and you know, Joel was like, I'm not doing anything, I'm gonna come help you. Like, and he not only, like, he really helped him, like he really put in the work to help him. So that was huge, so much so that it touched Joel, and he was vulnerable, and he actually cried, and he was like, I don't care, I'm not gonna apologize for crying, because listen, not only am I here to find a wife, but why can't I build relationships and connections and have a brotherhood? Why can't I do that? At this moment right here is when I said my favorite is Joel. The fact that he is very gentlemanly from what we saw so far, the fact that he was able to be like, I fuck with y'all, and not only that, it moved me that you appreciated it, like I'm able to be myself, like it's what's up. It's what's up. Now I can change my mind later, but as of right now, Joel is my favorite as it relates to being ready to love. Not only did he say, I'm looking for a wife, but why can't I build brotherhood? Why can't I help out? Why can't we uplift and support and encourage one another? Men don't do that enough. Not the way, well, I don't know. They probably do it. Never mind. Tommy asked them, okay, fellas, what's up? How were your dates? Dietrich instantly dotes over Tressa and how he overlooked how great she is, that every conversation that he has with her has been one of substance. Like, she is a woman of substance, a real woman, right? And so Tommy was like, well, what changed? Because when we talked last night, I mean, like, yo, that ain't how you was feeling. He was like, I've had several conversations with her and I need to give her a fighting chance. Joel said, listen, it is important to know what you like. Again, I like Joel because he understands that way. You know, you might learn that you need something with some meat on their bones. You need to know what you like, and more than just aesthetically pleasing, right? So AJ, he said, you know, Alexis, you know, she might have been a bit much, but she's at my top. No, she's not. Can we start off not lying? Because you said that she's not your type, that's not what you into, that aggressive sexual lead that she's doing, right? Like, you said that just a moment ago, and so now all of a sudden she at your top? Or no, maybe he said she's in the mix at the top is what he said. I think that that's a lie. I think that he was trying to save face and not be, you know, he needed to be honest and be like, I didn't like this. And so I still want to get to know her, but she's floating around in the middle because of X, Y, and Z. Like, all of us do it, men and women. The fact that we don't be honest with ourselves because somebody looks good or appeals to us aesthetically, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. Jason says Kyra is at his top, that they had a really open, vulnerable conversation. Troy says Andrea and Amber. And then Tommy says, Troy says, I don't think Amber liked it when I kissed her on the cheek. She didn't say anything, but I felt it. And I think that was an issue for her. Tommy said, do you think it's too soon to be kissing these people on the cheek? Not only that, there's 10 ladies and you didn't kiss half of them on the cheek. That ain't cool, brother. That's not cool. Somebody needed to pull his coattail about that. I'm glad that it was Tommy. So Tommy asked, okay, fellas, who are you not feeling? David said Tressa, feels like a homegirl. AJ, Tressa, he's not interested in her type. Is he not? What is it? Troy says Tressa, also a homegirl vibe. You know, I want to say that Troy had already said that he didn't like plus size girls, so we knew what that was about. Dietrich said Chrissy and Kyra. They asked why. He said, listen, if you don't feel me, I don't feel you. The end. Like, very gangster, very matter of fact, I'm not even finna consider the two of them. I like Dietrich. Though about that whole son comment, though, about he wants a baby, but he wants it to be a boy. But I'm actually kind of digging Dietrich, right? Jason says Andrea. Joel says Andrea. Chris says Andrea and Stacy. Everybody's like, who's Stacy? Well, Stacy dismissed him. So yeah, he don't like Stacy. Ron says Andrea. Andrea was kind of weird, right? So the two ladies that are up to go home are Tressa and Andrea. He lets them know, okay, so listen, be respectful. One of y'all gonna have to tell him to go home, one to go home, and one gets to stay. And remember, you're gonna be on the other side of this, so be mindful of how you let them know. We heard Dietrich say Tressa made the best impression on him, but she is on the bottom. And you can see that he's feeling some kind of way because he wants to get to know her, right? So David goes out with Andrea. Dietrich goes out with Tressa, okay? First question Tressa asked was, you know, well, what was the change? Why do you want to go out with me now? What was different? And she was like, well, first off, this ain't a spice thing. He said he wanted to take me to the spice store, but this ain't the spice store, but it's cool. He said, you know what? The connection and the vibe was there. And, you know, I thought you were kind of cute. Kind of cute? All right. I mean, I've had people grow on me that I wasn't necessarily physically attracted to. She said, you know, because I'm big and thick. The end. Know that. If I'm not your type, I want you to understand. Like, I don't want to mince no words and play no games. David is all like, you know, or was it Andrea? One of them said, you know, we didn't talk after our initial meeting. And I think, oh no, it was Dietrich that she was talking about the cats too. Or was it David? Whoever it was, she bored the shit out of them with the cats. You know, he said, well, if you could do it again, what would you do differently? And she said, I would be more assertive. I understand that I'm not assertive enough. Both Dietrich and David start to talk about the lounge, and they both said the same thing in the conversation. Your name came up. Tressa's like, let me get a little bit of this drink. You know, she preparing herself for the worst because she knows that she really hasn't been making many connections. David goes ahead and tells Andrea, listen, the fellas feel like you didn't put yourself out there enough and you have a lot to offer, just not here. You aren't ready to love here. He also says to her, at your appointed day that your husband is going to come and consume you. I felt like she took the letdown very graciously, you know, like she didn't feel like, she wasn't like, oh, whatever, but she was like, you know what, they right. I could have been more assertive. So when Dietrich was talking to Tressa, you know, he said to her, you know, they were getting, you know, everybody got the homegirl vibe. You could see that he was like physically torn up by the fact that she had to go. He was like, you know what, I had the best vibe with her. The best, you know, she it. You was it. When they said, you know, he just couldn't understand it. And he was like, I had to be like, hold up. I haven't even gotten to know her and make the connection yet. Like, she can't go home. I ain't get that chance yet. And he was like, unfortunately for me, you know, I get that chance. I get that chance now. Honey, she took a deep breath and was like, oh, thank God. Like, don't play with me like that. And he asked her right then and there, can we go on another date? Like a real date. Because this was a let you down, explain to you that you was on the bottom date. But can we get a real date? Because you outshined everybody else for him with her personality. Like, personality is a lot. You could be beautiful, but you could be dry as fuck. So, y'all, let me know what you thought about this episode down below in the comments. I'm going to tell you, when it comes to the men, my favorite men are as follows. Joel, #1. Like, he really moved me. I was very, like, touched by him. I guess that's the same thing. And then Dietrich, for the fact that he understands that maybe his choices were a little shallow and he needs to get to know this beautiful curvy woman that has style and grace, that can hold a conversation, that's funny, you know, listen, that is a grown-ass woman. So I'm glad for that. I'm gonna just talk about my top 2. Those are my top 2 men. Who are your top 2 women? Right now, my top 2 women, and in no specific order, because we didn't get to see them a lot. So just based on this episode, for me would be Tressa and then Vernisha, because she was open about, like, I like him and I told him I like him. Like, you know, or was it, no, Leah said, but they both liked them. So we're going to give all 3 of them because they were honest about their wants and their needs, right? Or who they were interested in. Listen, I am your girl, Talisa Ray. Thank you so much for watching my review of Ready to Love, Season 4, Episode number 3. If it's your first time visiting my channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button to become a ray of sunshine. Right next to that is that notification bell. You definitely want to click that. I mean, click all, because I'm going to be going live. I mean, I ain't did it yet because we only on number 3, but who knows? You never know. And if that button is that bell, it's clicked on all, you'll be like, oh shit, there goes Talisa Ray. Go ahead and also like this video and share it with your friends, not only for them to be able to come, not only because you're gonna show me the love, but that the algorithms are gonna know you like me too. I love you in real life and want every good thing that God has in store for you, even if you don't know what that is for yourself. Hugs and kisses and lots of love. I will catch you on the next review.